Narrated Ibn Abbas, Allah's apostle set out for Mecca in Ramadan and he fasted, and when he reached Al-Qadid, he broke his fast and the people, with him, broke their fast too. Abu Abdullah said, Al-Qadid is a land covered with water between Usfan and Qudayd. Sahih Bukhari number 1944. The Book of As-Sawm, the Fasting. Status, Sahih. Narrated Mutarif from Imran ibn Hussein, that the Prophet asked him, Imran, or asked a man, and Imran was listening, O Abu so-and-so. Have you fasted the last days of this month? The narrator thought that he said, the month of Ramadan. The man replied, No, O Allah's apostle. The Prophet said to him, When you finish your fasting of Ramadan, fast 2 days in Shawwal. Through another series of narrators Imran said, the Prophet said, Have you fasted the last days of Sha'ban? Sahih Bukhari number 1983. The Book of As-Sawm, the Fasting. Status, Sahih. Narrated Aisha, Allah's apostle ordered the Muslims to fast on the day of Ashura, and when fasting in the month of Ramadan was prescribed, it became optional for one to fast on that day, Ashura, or not. Sahih Bukhari number 2001. The Book of As-Sawm, the Fasting. Status, Sahih. Narrated Aisha, Quraysh used to fast on the day of Ashura in the pre-Islamic period, and Allah's apostle too used to fast on that day. When he came to Medina, he fasted on that day and ordered others to fast too. Later, when the fasting of the month of Ramadan was prescribed, he gave up fasting on the day of Ashura, and it became optional for one to fast on it or not. Sahih Bukhari number 2002. The Book of As-Sawm, the Fasting. Status, Sahih. Narrated Abu Huraira, Allah's apostle said, Whoever prayed at night the whole month of Ramadan out of sincere faith and hoping for a reward from Allah, then all his previous sins will be forgiven. Ibn Shihab, a sub-narrator, said, Allah's apostle died and the people continued observing that nawafil offered individually, not in congregation, and it remained as it was during the caliphate of Abu Bakr and in the early days of Umar's caliphate. Sahih Bukhari number 2009. The Book of Tarawih Prayers. Status, Sahih. Abdur Rahman bin Abdul Kari said, I went out in the company of Umar bin al-Khattab one night in Ramadan to the mosque and found the people praying in different groups. A man praying alone or a man praying with a little group behind him. So, Umar said, In my opinion I would better collect these people under the leadership of one Qari, reciter, let them pray in congregation. So, he made up his mind to congregate them behind Ubay bin Ka'b. Then on another night I went again in his company and the people were praying behind their reciter. On that, Umar remarked, What an excellent bid'ah, innovation in religion, this is, but the prayer which they do not perform, but sleep at its time is better than the one they are offering. He meant the prayer in the last part of the night. In those days, people used to pray in the early part of the night. Sahih Bukhari number 2010. The Book of Tarawih Prayers. Status, Sahih. Narrated Abu Salama bin Abdur Rahman, that he asked Aisha how was the prayer of Allah's apostle in Ramadan. She replied, he did not pray more than 11 rakat in Ramadan or in any other month. He used to pray 4 rakat, let alone their beauty and length, and then he would pray 4, let alone their beauty and length, and then he would pray 3 rakat witr. She added, I asked, O Allah's apostle, do you sleep before praying the witr? He replied, O Aisha, my eyes sleep but my heart does not sleep. Sahih Bukhari number 2013. The Book of Tarawih Prayers. Status, Sahih. Narrated Abu Huraira, the Prophet said, whoever fasted the month of Ramadan out of sincere faith, belief, and hoping for a reward from Allah, then all his past sins will be forgiven, and whoever stood for the prayers in the night of Qadr out of sincere faith and hoping for a reward from Allah, then all his previous sins will be forgiven. Sahih Bukhari number 2014. The Book of Superiority of the Night of Qadr. Status, Sahih. Narrated Abu Salama, I asked Abu Sa'idi, and he was a friend of mine, about the night of Qadr, and he said, we practiced itikaf, seclusion in the mosque, in the middle third of the month of Ramadan with the Prophet. In the morning of the 20th of Ramadan, the Prophet came and addressed us and said, I was informed of the date of the night of Qadr, but I was caused to forget it, so search for it in the odd nights of the last 10 nights of the month of Ramadan. In the dream, I saw myself prostrating in mud and water as a sign. So, whoever was in itikaf with me should return to it with me for another 10 days period, and we returned. At that time there was no sign of clouds in the sky, but suddenly a cloud came and it rained till rainwater started leaking through the roof of the mosque, which was made of date palm leaf stalks. Then the prayer was established and I saw Allah's apostle prostrating in mud and water, and I saw the traces of mud on his forehead. Sahih Bukhari number 2016. The Book of Superiority of the Night of Qudr. Status Sahih. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, Allah's apostle used to practice itikaf in the mosque in the middle third of Ramadan, and after passing the 20 nights he used to go back to his house on the 21st, and the people who were in itikaf with him also used to go back to their houses. Once in Ramadan, in which he practiced itikaf, he established the night prayers at the night in which he used to return home, and then he addressed the people and ordered them whatever Allah wished him to order, and said, I used to practice itikaf for these 10 days, i.e. the middle third, but now I intend to stay in itikaf for the last 10 days of the month, so whoever was in itikaf with me should stay at his place of seclusion. I have verily been shown the date of this night of Qadr, but I have forgotten it. So search for it in the odd nights of the last 10 days of this month. I also saw myself, in the dream, prostrating in mud and water. On the night of the 21st, the sky was covered with clouds and it rained, and the rainwater started leaking through the roof of the mosque at the praying place of the Prophet. I saw with my own eyes the Prophet at the completion of the morning prayer leaving with his face covered with mud and water. Sahih Bukhari number 2018. The Book of Superiority of the Night of Qudr. Status Sahih.